In the quiet suburbs of Tokyo, a killer leaves behind a chilling challenge, every possible piece of evidence, daring police to catch him, yet 25 years later, after 2,800 officers have tried, the perfect crime remains unsolved. In Tokyo, where perfection seems etched into every facade, the Miyazawa family lived what appeared to be an ordinary life. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing, a storm that would shatter their world forever. Could this ordinary family's life be a mask hiding something darker? December 31st, 2000, a day that would begin like any other, but would end as a nightmare that would haunt Japan for decades. Miles away, Yasuko's mother repeatedly calls, her brow furrowed with growing concern. It's unlike them not to answer, especially today. What could keep an entire family from answering the phone on New Year's Eve? One unanswered phone call would unravel a mystery that would challenge everything law enforcement thought they knew. Something is terribly wrong inside the house, but what? Driven by a mother's instinct, she travels to their home, her anxiety mounting with each step. The front door is unlocked, slightly ajar. She pushes it open, stepping into an unsettling stillness. Why is the door open? Did they simply forget to lock it, or is something far more sinister at play? In one moment, a mother's routine check would transform into a scene of unimaginable horror. Her scream pierces the quiet, a sound of pure terror as she discovers Mikio's lifeless body. What horror has unfolded within these walls? Each room reveals another nightmare, Yasuko and Nina, then little Ray, all victims of a brutal attack. How could such violence erupt in this peaceful home, claiming the lives of an entire family? She stumbles out, her cries attracting neighbors who rush to the scene, their faces reflecting the dawning horror. Who would commit such a heinous act, leaving a wave of shock rippling through the quiet neighborhood? Police cars descend on the scene, their flashing lights cutting through the somber atmosphere. The investigation begins. Can the police uncover the truth behind this massacre, or will this house forever hold its dark secrets? Forensic teams meticulously comb the house, finding fingerprints, bloodstains, and other traces. In the aftermath of unspeakable violence, the killer left behind a bizarre calling card, a meticulously staged crime scene that defied all investigative logic. Why did the killer leave so much behind? Was it arrogance, a mistake, or something more calculated? Who could commit such a meticulously brutal murder, leaving behind a trail of evidence that seemed both accidental and intentional? The fingerprints don't match any family member, but whose are they? Technology, typically a detective's best friend, became a labyrinth of confusion. An unfinished computer ticket booking, mysterious fingerprints, the digital breadcrumbs led nowhere. The killer knew exactly how to leave a trail, yet remain invisible. Genetic markers, the modern fingerprint. But in this case, they became a complex puzzle that defied scientific understanding. What secrets are hidden within these genetic codes? An open ice cream container in the fridge bears unfamiliar fingerprints. Folded neatly nearby are clothes, a sweater, a cap, a fanny pack, none of which belong to the Miyazawas. The sweater is identified as Korean-made, rare in Japan. A potential ethnic lead. Why would the killer take the time to eat ice cream and leave behind his own clothing? But in the maze of investigation, even the most promising path would lead to a dead end. No suspect, no connection, just more questions. Blood samples are analyzed. One doesn't match the family. It's the killer's, suggesting he was injured during the attack. Can this DNA be matched to someone in the existing databases, finally revealing the killer's identity? The Korean sweater and the DNA's Asian/European genetic markers lead investigators to focus on individuals with Korean connections in the Tokyo area. Is the killer a Korean national, or is this another red herring? In the world of criminal investigation, motive is the key. But what happens when every possible reason disintegrates under scrutiny? If no motive exists, what dark purpose drove this killer? The house shows no signs of forced entry, and valuables are untouched. Robbery is ruled out as a motive. If it wasn't for robbery, what drove someone to commit such a brutal act? Investigators delve into Mikio's life, his work, his relationships, his past. Yasuko, the children, their family, neighbors, all are scrutinized, and all paths lead to dead ends. Could the motive be something so deeply hidden that it eludes even the most thorough investigation? With no apparent motive, the theory of a psychopathic killer emerges. Someone who kills not for gain or revenge, but for the act itself, perhaps even relishing the challenge of evading capture. Is this the act of a deranged individual, someone beyond reason and traditional motives? Police revisit old cases, interviewing known psycho killers, seeking any connection, any name, anyone who might fit the profile. Can they find a link, a whisper, that will lead them to the elusive killer, or is he truly a ghost? As months turned into years, the case consumed 2,800 investigators. DNA databases were scanned worldwide. Every Korean national in the area was investigated. The killer's profile suggested someone between 25 and 40 years old, physically fit enough to overpower 4 people. How could someone leave so much evidence yet remain a ghost? The psychological profile emerged, a methodical killer who planned every detail. The murders weren't frenzied, they were calculated. The evidence wasn't careless, it was intentional. This wasn't just a murderer, this was someone playing a game. Every December 31st, Japan remembers. The media returns to Setagaya. New theories emerge. New technologies are applied to old evidence. But the killer's identity remains elusive. Is the killer watching these anniversaries, still playing their game? The investigation explored every angle. Was it a disgruntled colleague? A psychotic break? A professional hit? Each theory raised more questions than answers. The killer's comfort in the house suggested familiarity with the area. The killer might have been hiding in plain sight. While investigations continued, a family's pain remained frozen in time, waiting, hoping, believing justice might still arrive. Can closure ever truly heal such profound loss? As technology advanced, cold case units applied new techniques. Genetic genealogy, advanced DNA analysis, artificial intelligence pattern recognition. Yet the killer remained a step ahead, their identity protected by time. What secrets remain locked in the evidence, waiting for technology to catch up? Today, the killer could be in their 60s or 70s if still alive. Their DNA suggests a heritage bridging East and West, their actions reveal someone familiar with both cultures. The sweater, the computer use, the comfort in a Japanese home, all pieces of a puzzle still unsolved. The killer might have been hiding behind their dual identity. Families' relatives still wait for answers. Every year, they return to the house, now a memorial. The children who never grew up. The parents whose lives were cut short. A family frozen in time on the edge of a new millennium. How many more years until justice is served? The case has become a legend in criminal justice circles. A reminder that even in our age of surveillance and DNA, a determined killer can slip through the cracks. Each new detective brings fresh eyes, only to face the same frustrating dead ends. The killer's greatest weapon wasn't violence, it was their understanding of human nature. As we approach another anniversary, the questions multiply. Was the killer a local who fled abroad? A visitor who returned home? Someone watching this very documentary? The evidence sits in climate-controlled storage, waiting to speak its final secrets. Is the truth hidden in plain sight? The Setagaya case remains Japan's most infamous unsolved murder. A family lost. A killer who played by their own rules. And evidence that tells everything yet reveals nothing. Somewhere, someone knows the truth. Until then, the game continues. In the end, the killer's greatest success wasn't the murder, it was turning real tragedy into an endless mystery.